Merry Christmas, everybody. We're filming for December 18th. If it's nowhere near December 18th, click up here. This is a link to all the Friday fishing reports, and we do it most weeks, so I should have something more up to date for you. Wanted to wish everybody a happy holiday. I was going to put on the Santa hat, but I decided against it. Plan on being in an ugly Christmas sweater this Friday, because it is ugly Christmas sweater day, so thumbs up for that. Maybe I'll have some pictures of that here for you guys. But I got a big report for you. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the holiday. I wish everyone a happy and safe holiday, even though it might be in a slightly altered way that we normally do holidays. I think we all need it. Now, this week I got some cool stuff for you. Obviously December isn't a big time to go fishing, but there are still some cool stuff you can do out there and well worth it. So we've got the egg eaters. That's on all the rivers that have salmon. There are gonna be tons of fish going to eating the eggs, so worth looking at. We're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna talk about how the weather affects that. Steelhead Scouting. This is the time of year steelhead are hooked. Not now, meaning they're hooked later. So I'm gonna talk you guys through where you can go for that and get out there and scout and stretch your legs, get some good R&R. Lastly, winter Chinook. We haven't been talking much about it, but it is decent. There is good prawning out there as well. Jay did a report last week because he's been out quite a bit, so it's well worth looking at. I'm gonna refer you guys to that if you want some information. If you have a saltwater boat, it's worth getting out there. Maybe a day off, go out if it's nice and clear. Now, when I sat down to this desk, I saw there's a ton of rain coming. That's not awful for the first two fisheries. Could be an issue if you're out winter Chinook fishing, but that's what heaters and covers are for. So we're gonna talk through that during the report. Now, I got some other news for you guys that's super important. First off, Sports Fishing Institute has a really important raffle. If you want to stop watching the fishing report right now, go down to the links in the description, throw some money at the Sports Fishing Institute. Not only could you win some really cool prizes, I'm going to start throwing pictures up here, but it supports a really neat cause that pushes really hard to make sure the politicians understand the science behind the decisions, as well as funding some of those science and making sure the public's educated. With that in mind, they've also come up with another really cool thing, which was a conference. Every year they do a conference. It's something that I've attended. Jason attends every single year, and it's cool. You get to learn a lot about the biology from the leaders in the industry or the leading researchers in the field, something that the general public doesn't get much access to. And usually you have to attend the gala. This year it is online. One silver lining of what we're in right now, you guys get a chance to take a look at it. So that's super cool. I'm gonna leave links below the raffle. Sign up for the raffle. Make sure you buy a raffle ticket first. But just below that, I'm gonna send you guys the conference links, and it's cool. Definitely worth getting educated. It's really, really intriguing and interesting information that'll allow you to have a more educated opinion when it comes to the fishery that we all love. Now, on that same line, there was also another conference or another Zoom style meeting that was published, and that was one on the Thompson River. If you guys know, I refuse to let you guys forget about the Thompson River. It is something that's really close to my heart, is going to be easily forgotten. I'm warning you guys right now, but for the last 2 years, there's been major restrictions and closures for this Thompson River steelhead. The steelhead that I consider probably one of the coolest fish on the planet. If you guys are interested in steelhead fishing, if you've never heard of the Thompson, you have to check this out. And if you're an old hand, you already know it. You might not know about this one. There's some new interesting information that is well worth looking at if you would love to get back to fishing the steelhead on the Thompson like I do. I do have 2 flies for you. Zach's got a cool space style pattern and Andre's got a classic. We're gonna keep those at the back end of the report. And last but not least, it's a long intro here, Boxing Day. You guys are probably watching this hanging out at Christmas, and obviously we have a big Boxing Day sale. If you guys wanna see the list early, make sure you're signed up for our newsletter. Down in the description, go sign up there. Is gonna be the first to see the list. Now this year it's gonna be even more critical. I will warn you guys, there is going to be a bunch of stuff on sale because though some things have been impossible to get into stock this year, other things have just not been selling. It's a very interesting world we live in right now. So there's gonna be some really cool deals. Hint, there's some waders. Hint, there might be some cool jackets. So check that out, get signed up for that. If you guys are hanging out, call it in when we open on Boxing Day if you don't want to come down to the shop for social distancing reasons or just classic laziness, and we can put it aside for you. Don't call in before that, you won't get it, and that list will come out to the database down below if you're signed up, roughly about the 23rd. All right, long intro. If you guys want to see more reports like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into where you can go fishing over the weekend. All right, guys, beer number 2. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, all that jazz. I should actually see you guys before New Year's. We got a big one planned, so make sure you tune in for that. But this week, let's take a look at weather, because though December is not known as a month to go fishing, there's still some cool stuff. And I've said it a bunch of times, but if you want to become a steelheader, now is when steelhead are caught. And not now, meaning that the time you put in now is when it'll pay dividends on your 7th, 8th, 10th, 20th trip in sort of February, March, April. But the scouting now is when you pay dividends, and heck, gosh only knows we need some physical activity, some fresh air, and some social distancing. So when we look at the weather on that front, it is going to be wet, but wet is actually kind of what you want when it comes to winter fishing. Wet and relatively warm. You see the 14-day trend here. We're filming for Wednesday, so it's like rolling in. You're going to see, hopefully on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's still going to be relatively warm. We're going to see it dip down, but still just dip down into norms for the season, meaning we're not even dropping into negatives. I mean, we saw negatives earlier on in this season. And this is for Vancouver weather. When we pull up Squamish on the same note, they're doing the similar thing. So they're going to drop a little bit into negatives in that Monday, Tuesday range next week. As always, don't trust the weatherman, but this is a good gauge of what to look at. And it's damp. Now, normally you guys have heard me talk in the fall season, and I'm panicking when we're seeing tons of rain. But what the rain's going to do this time of year is actually keep the water in a nice color, keep the fish not scared, and also actually keep the water warm. When you think about that, though, more water in it is, the warmer it is, the less it is, the colder it is. And so we sometimes see this time of year when you get like deep negatives, the water goes very, very cold and the fish's metabolism shut down. So when it comes to bull trouting, egging, cutthroat fishing, which there's still a little bit of this time of year, it's worth looking at. And where are you guys going to head? Well, I mean, the majors are worth looking at. Anywhere that has salmon eggs. I'm not going to give away secret spots, guys, but anywhere that there's salmon spawning, you guys can get out with a float rod or a fly rod, imitate those eggs, and be catching bull trout, cutthroat, and rainbows. Flip it around, you guys scouting for steelhead. Well, that's a long game and it's a fun one to play, but get out, cover ground, learn new areas, find new access points. Again, I'm not giving away secret spots in this case, but at the same time, I'm going to encourage you to find your own. And this is the time when I do it. You know, I'll go out on some random weird thing and be like, hey, I've never looked down there. I'm going to spend 3 hours humping around down there, putting boots to ground and seeing what happens. So if you got some time, go do that. Well recommended. Also, on the saltwater front, we haven't been tuning in much to winter Chinook fishing, but it's definitely viable right now. If you guys got a boat, go out there. No better way to chill out, hang out. Maybe you can do the BC Christmas dinner, which is a winter Chinook and a bunch of prawns. Prawning's been decent. Look back to last week's report. Jay has some details on what he's been doing. He's been out quite a bit, and it has been productive. Not gangbuster, but definitely productive, and definitely considering it if you got a boat. All right, flies. Andre, I'm going to keep this simple. He's got the polar shrimp. This is a classic. This is one that, again, just like the GP a few weeks ago, links up here for that one. It is put more steelheads on the end of a line than your intruder, your Edward, Jerry French, your famous, modern steelheaders have ever caught. And I still rock these patterns in certain scenarios and certain waters. So a fun one if you want to have some art. There's a beautiful pattern, definitely recommended. He's actually got them both lined up here. I'll leave links to his site, but there's the polar shrimp, general practitioner, both worth having in your box. Maybe you're in your mainstay, but definitely worth being part of your arsenal. Now, the other fly I wanted to talk about was Zach's fly. I'll throw that up here. Again, going on the classic side, having some fun, being a little bit artistic. But I like what Zach's done on this one because he's turned a classic fly, a very simple fly, a very beautifully proportioned fly into something that I think will fish really well, meaning that it has that right shape, it has that teardrop. And funnily enough, when you look at some of the classic materials and why they were sort of so widely accepted and sought after, and lots of money was spent on these very rare feathers like jungle cock, they have some properties that make sense in a modern fisherman's eye. So this one's recommended. Check that out. Links down here. I'll leave a link at the back end of the report as well. All right, guys, that is everything I've got for you. I hope some of those fun science pieces catch your eye and you spend the time to get educated. I definitely did. I definitely enjoyed them. If you guys are doing some fly tying, check out Zach's pattern right here. Check out Andre's pattern right here. And I wish you guys a Merry Christmas. I'm going to see you right after Christmas. I'm going to be red-eyed and tired after our Boxing Day sale. Links again to the sales items. And as always, you want to see more reports like this, consider hitting the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We'll catch you 2 weeks from now.